My name is Thomas. I'm a developer from Stockholm, Sweden, and I'm really interested in something called behavior-driven development. And one of the most important parts of behavior-driven development is to understand what examples should we implement. Welcome. And one technique that is possible to use in that context is called example mapping. So this session is all about that technique, example mapping. And I gave the previous speaker the tip or hint, you should put your name on the first slide. So I didn't do that myself. It's on my last slide. So what do I do and who am I? I just told you I'm Thomas from Stockholm, Sweden. What do I do? Lots of different things, but basically working with software. So I'm a computer guy. I work with computers. Implementing software, delivering it. My definition of done is working software in production. And if you wonder, yes, I wear this at work. It annoys people. And that's great, because if you get annoyed by this message, you have a way bigger problem than the fact that I'm annoying you. And I tell people that. I have also been informed that, Thomas, you are not a diplomat. No, I'm not. I couldn't care less. DevOps, whatever that happens to mean. So I try to get stuff working, mostly by writing code. So definition of done, working software in production, yes. But it should also be used by real users. Otherwise, it's kind of useless. So that's what I do. Oh, I play the trombone as well. So this is from a gig we had a couple of years ago. The first time I've ever played solo in front of this band. It might be the last time as well. But yeah, it's a fun thing to play the trombone. And I don't think anyone here knew that they were being photoed. Never mind. So this is a session. It's a hands-on session that is about discovery things. So this is I want to run a discovery workshop with you guys. In a discovery workshop, you really want to bring in different people because you want different views. We all have different backgrounds. We all have different personalities. We are probably from different countries. We have different views of things. And that's a really good thing when we want to discover some kind of problem. This is sometimes also called the Three Amigos, and it's a term coined by George Dinwiddie, which you can't see there, but yeah, he came up with the name. Three Amigos, meaning that you should bring in some representative from the business in this meeting, a developer, tester, UX, and whatever you need. So the number 3 here, I think we should interpret it as 3 to 5 something. But it's a catchy name, Three Amigos. So we'll stick with that. But if you run this discovery workshop with 2 persons, you may not have enough different views. If you run it with 23 persons, that could be a problem because you could have too many views, so you will get stuck. I don't know. So a few people representing different angles or different views. So one of the things that will happen later is that I want you to form groups of 3, maybe 4. I don't know how many we are here, but I want to have groups of 3 to 4 persons. And then you should run a discovery workshop dissecting a couple of here try to put this into some kind of graph. There is one area where everyone knows about the problem. Both testers, developers, and business analysts. There are areas where the tester or developer doesn't know anything about this, but the business analyst knows it. There are also areas where the business analyst hasn't a clue, but a developer knows. And then the danger zone. This is the area where we don't know stuff. None of us knows anything about it. With some luck, we can uncover some of it, but it's likely that we don't want to uncover everything. The unknown unknown. This is where our bugs live. And we can't even protect ourselves because we don't even know that we don't know about this problem yet. If we look at the traditional specifications, you know, these long rambling Word documents that no one reads, or probably at least shouldn't read. That's what you get because they're written by business analysts. So we'll miss out quite a lot of the potential knowledge in that particular situation. And with some luck, we can overcome parts of it at least if we use tools like behavior-driven development and the habit of example mapping. So that's what I want to practice on you today. The tools we need are simple. We need a paper and we need a pen. So you write down the story or backlog item on a piece of yellow paper. It's small, and I want you to use really thick pens.
Do you want me to share those in the room?
I'll share it with the group in a few minutes.
Okay, sure.
Thank you. So, small piece of paper with specific color, thick pen, meaning you can't write an essay on this one. That's a good thing, because you want to keep things. You don't want to spend time writing. You want to spend time thinking, brainstorming, coming up with new ideas. So that's what we have. We also have blue cards or blue pieces of papers, which, if there are any rules that we know about or the business analyst knows about, you can prepare with them, or something anyone knows about the problem. We know that there are rules that we have to obey. Write them down. Then I'd like to see an example that either illustrates the rule or an example of when the rule is not applicable. So we got the positive case or the negative case. Maybe we have both. So examples. And finally, it happens that we don't really know what it's all about. Yellow cards. Sorry, this is not yellow, is it? This is red. I am colorblind, but I should be able to divide these. If we have any questions, write them down. Don't spend time debating them, postpone them, push them away. So this is an example. Alma wants a beer. She's not 18. No beer for Alma. No, sorry. The specific girl I'm thinking of, she was born a day and a half ago, so no beer for her. She doesn't even know that she wants a beer. The one where Anna buys for £50 and pay 45. This could be an example where you get a 10% discount in some certain situation. I started it with the words "the one where", so you can just add a little bit more details to this example. You don't have to write much more than this. You have to remember what you talked about and not much more. Because after this session you will probably use these examples, maybe turn them into formal Gherkin, which is a language used by tools like Cucumber and similar, and then work more on them. We won't go there today. We will only practice creating examples. We have a question somehow. Write them down on a piece of red paper. or red index card. The goal is to end up with something like this. Hopefully not that many questions, but maybe even more questions, because this story maybe we didn't even know, we didn't know enough about this story. We could find a couple of rules, we could find a couple of examples describing these rules. Maybe some of them are negating the rule, so we know that when this happens, something else should happen. But this is our goal. This is what we want to end up with. And then we will use it for something later, such as implementing automated acceptance tests using Cucumber. I have a few tips and tricks that I think that you would like to remember. Naming examples, the one where is a good way of just scribble something down. Write the questions down. Don't spend long time debating them. Time box this. So I will time box this into 25 minutes sessions, meaning that we might not be able to do 3 of them, but I'm expecting us to do at least 2 of them. And then, when we're done, there's something called a thumb vote that is really good to stop this session with. If you're happy, you do it like this. That's happiness. If you're like, I don't know, so-and-so, maybe neutral, like this. And if you're really unhappy, thumbs down. So this is an easy way to have a vote. Do we understand the problem enough? Can we start implementing? Is the item small enough so we can work on it? If we look at the map like this, if we have many, many rules and lots of examples, this story might be really large. And maybe it's time to divide it. Maybe it's 2 stories hiding here. Maybe it's 3. In this particular case, we have 6 different examples. Might not be too large. We might even understand what we're talking about. That's a good thing. Maybe you can start working. Maybe you need more examples for the one on the left here. I don't know. My right, your left. So maybe we can start working here. Maybe we can start working on part of it at least. And that's a goal. The goal here is to be able to come up with something that we can start working with, something that we can agree on is understood, and this is the way the system should behave. Yep. So, with this introduction, I would like to form groups of 3 persons, maybe 4. And how many are we? We're like 20, 25, something. So no more than 10 groups, please, because I don't have more than 10 of these sheets with the stories that you should work on. I also would like to get some help, and now it's a good time to help me, to distribute one of these to each group. A few of these yellow, a few of these red.
1 per person?
No, a bunch per group.
Okay.
And a little bit more the green per group, something like this. And the group should also get some pens. And since we are lots of people and it's boring to just sit and wait, come up here and grab some material. So please come up here and grab some material that you will need for the workshop. Perfect. And grab some pens. I don't know how many you are, but 3. Yes. Okay. Okay, so one group was able to come up and grab some pens and papers. The rest of you, please.
So some.
Yeah. Not that many of you.
More
of the green. More of the green. And you were 4, so I've prepared for you here.
Thank you.
Is this enough, or maybe more blue?
Nah, that's probably enough. Probably enough.
Less questions.
And some pens. They also need some pens. Do you have, no, you haven't?
No.
How many are you? You're 3?
Yes.
And you are 3, so here's some pens. So, the first example is in the context of a store where someone just bought a kettle, you know, the thing that you boil water in, but it was broken. So how should we handle the fact that the customer returns and is a little bit unhappy? We know that in this case, in order to get a refund, you must have a receipt. If you don't have a receipt, no refund. Or maybe, if you don't have a receipt, how should we behave? I don't know. If this customer is well known, we might have one way of handling this. You should refund on the specific credit card the customer used when they paid for it. How should we handle customers that actually paid cash? In some countries, cash is still king. Germany, for example. Have you ever tried to pay a taxi with a credit card in Germany? I have.
Yes.
Not impressed. Not impressed. Has every group some material now? Yes? Okay.
Are you having a pen as well?
Yeah. And if you don't have pen on paper and are too lazy to come up here, then you won't get the pen and paper. So please come here and grab material if you're missing it. I will start the time box. Yes, we have questions first.
Yeah.
Question first.
How we assume roles?
Thank you for asking, because I forgot. We need a product owner. So each group has to define or decide who is the product owner in this group. And the product owner decides, if they can decide. If if you come up with a question that is really tough, this might be something that the product owner has to go back to and talk to other people about. But you need to decide one person in the group that is a product owner. And then it doesn't really matter who has which role. So start with that, and I will start a time box in 1 minute while you negotiate who is the product owner. So do we have any other questions before I start the first time box of 25 minutes? What? One more?
What we are dealing with, only the first one.
Please work only with the first example, the physical store where someone tries to refund or get refund for a broken item. So let's start with that one. We'll work on the other ones if we find the time, and maybe we will. We'll see. I'll start the time box now, and then I'll walk around and see how it goes for you. And it's a good thing if everyone grabs a pen and pitch in writing. And no need to write an essay. So, who's the product owner?
It's me.
Okay, so write down something describing the story, and then see if you can come up with examples that are valid or invalid. And you have some rules, maybe you should put them down. Maybe you find other rules that you need to put down as well. These are probably not the only rules, there could be more. I don't know.
Okay.
And then everyone should grab a pen and contribute as much as possible. I noticed that there are some people using small pens. Please don't. Use the thick pens for the reason that you want to be able to read them from a distance. I, who has a rather bad eyesight, I can read, it says story over there. So you want to use a thick pen to make sure that it's readable from a distance.
Should we find other rules or just take these ones and ask for questions?
If you find other rules that are reasonable and the product owner says this is reasonable, then you found a new rule. And make sure that you have an example describing this rule. But maybe there are 4 rules here, I don't know.
For example, you can buy with the small payments. No? So it's not a card.
Sounds like you have an example here.
Oh, okay.
That you
So it's
might
not a
fit
card.
into a rule.
Like
Small cash payments or?
no, like payment button.
Yeah.
At least.
So if you have an example, write the examples down, and there might be more than 3 rules, and you may discover them. We don't know that.
Stuff in trenches.
And grab a pen and write small examples.
Can we also add additional rules?
Absolutely. This is just a few rules that someone came up thinking for like 5 minutes. But there could be multiple other rules.
And what are examples?
Examples are perhaps Alma wants to have a beer, but she doesn't have the legal age. No beer.
But
So
can
in
you
this
make it to this story?
case, in this story, maybe the kettle wasn't broken. How should you behave then? Maybe it was bought 6 years ago. How should you behave then?
Aren't these questions?
There
They
could
can
be
be.
questions, but there could also be something that the product owner can decide. So if someone comes with a broken kettle, it's bought 6 years ago, it might not be up for refund. So that could be an example that need to be checked. So that could be something where you would like to write down on the green cards that I hope you have here. Yeah. Yes. Examples describing the rules. So there is a rule, and we would like to find an example that describes how we should or illustrate this rule. And we would also like to find perhaps something that illustrates the negative case. So the one where is one way of starting it, writing something else is totally okay. Drawing an image, that works great as well.
So question was what to do with the... Yeah, let's move to the next room. How much time do you have?
I time boxed this to 25 minutes, and it's a few minutes left, like 20. You have plenty of time. No rush, no rush.
This because this is tricky because what if this guy don't
And you don't even have to write text. If it's easier to describe something on a card like this with a drawing, draw a drawing. So I'm just doing that to indicate how a train, two wagons in a train should be filled with, in this case, 3 passengers. How should we assign them seats? Writing that down on such a small piece of paper, that's complicated. Draw an image. That's good. That's okay. We use pen and paper for a reason. They're really good tools. You can use them for a lot of different things. The size of them, well, there are 2 reasons for that. One of them is the fact that you can't buy the index cards that was used originally in Sweden, so I had A4 papers cut in 8 pieces. That's the reason for this size. But the goal here is to have something small, so you can't write an essay. I don't want to see someone typing, I don't know, 5,000 words to describe something here. That would be ridiculous. So therefore, a thick pen, small card will force you to write enough to remember, but not more. This is not something that you will keep forever. You will probably somehow remember these example maps, perhaps by taking a picture of them, perhaps by bringing the cards. But tomorrow or later this day, you will probably start working on them, implementing them in, say, using Gherkin if you want to use Cucumber for driving the development process later on. But you will work on them pretty soon. So therefore, you will hopefully remember what you actually wrote. I've been mentioning Cucumber a few times. I have said behavior-driven development. This is one way of doing behavior-driven development. Some people think that behavior-driven development is all about the tooling, Cucumber, spec flow, whatever you have. It's not. Definitely not. Behavior-driven development is a way to drive your development using conversations, concrete examples, automated acceptance tests, and then code. I didn't wear that t-shirt today, but there's a t-shirt. There are 2 t-shirts in the world actually that says that. So you have conversations, you come up with examples, you can use these examples for implementing acceptance tests, and then you implement the system. That's behavior-driven development. Example mapping was first described in a blog post that a guy called Matt Wynn wrote. So I really urge you to read that one. And if you want, Aslak Hellesøy, who is the creator of Cucumber, he created a video thing on YouTube with that link. But if you search for example mapping and YouTube, you will find it, the first hit. It's worth your time. It's like 35-40 minutes. It's worth your time. I can promise you that. Reading this one is not that complicated. So these are some resources that I would like to suggest that you check out if you're interested. I have also written some stuff that is on my blog. Cucumber as such is available on Cucumber.io, and we even have nice documentation today. I'm not really part of it, the project more than that I'm a contributor. But yeah, there are some stuff there. So I'm Thomas, and we've been talking about example mapping. If you have any questions, feel free to send me an email. I'm on Twitter if you're interested. I tend to retweet a lot of stuff about Agile. And I'm a developer, so my views are from a development perspective mostly.